engaged.
Hello? 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 Apologies, Ragdoll. I accidentally deleted your message by knuckling my tablet, which I have the chat on. It's like fat fingering, but fat knuckling. Hello, Ed. Hello, Oops. How go? While I'm here, I'm actually going to... No, that's not a thing. How do I... Mixer, how do you work? I don't know how Mixer works. Been on this for like a year. How is everybody doing? It doesn't. That's accurate, yes. Auto hosting. While I'm here, we have. Not going to recommend. There. Okay, cool. Yeah, good. Now Ragdoll is on my auto host list. Cool. I forgot to do that before. I should have done it before. Doing well. Missing lots of streams though. To be fair, so am I. I've been missing my own. I'm glad you're doing well. That's something. Let's get some music up. I have the soundtrack for Final Fantasy III up because I've just finished that. So might as well play that in the background. Why not? That quiet? Bit quiet. A bit loud. The DS remake. Yeah. Welcome to I didn't know what to do stream. So we're going to be doodling because I've been kind of enjoying the last few weeks of just picking a thing to draw and drawing it for 2 hours. Yeah. This week's been weird. The last couple of weeks has been weird. The last year's been weird. Nothing's normal anymore. But yeah. This music is it's very fluctuating. How dare orchestral music not be monotone? Yeah. So welcome to Drawtown, Drawsville. Yeah, I don't know. Let's swap over to the old canvas. Here it is. Nah, it's not a thing, is it? There we go. Pencil. The one idea I did have, is that still a bit too loud? Not being dramatic, soundtrack. Or maybe it's just loud in my ears, I don't know. The one idea I did have is, again, I finished Final Fantasy III, and it's an old game, so it's not perfect. I'd question whether it's good. It's fine. But in true Final Fantasy fashion, the final boss comes out of nowhere. And in not necessarily true Final Fantasy fashion, it physically bears no resemblance to its own name. So I kind of like the idea of taking the name and trying to make my own final boss out of it. Because the name's not terrible. She's Shadow of Darkness. That seems perfectly acceptable for a final boss name. But yeah, so I thought maybe we could do that. I don't know. Or not. We could do something else. It seems like the sticker company who do the stickers for my Patreon stuff are a little behind on things. So we should probably do that relatively sharpish for next month. They still haven't started manufacturing this month's stuff. It is the top half of a large green lady with snakes coming out of her. Apparently they come out of her hip. It does look like they're coming out of her head though. Yeah. It also says
my sons attack the gates.
Thank you everybody for the auto hosts. Yeah, it's hang on, let me get a picture. Snake hips, yes. They've elaborated on it in subsequent games. Because true to form, there's almost no information about it in the actual game. Okay, so they've not green in other iterations. Not. Is this the original? This might be the original. That looks original-ish. There. That's what the Cloud of Darkness looks like in this game. Spoilers for Final Fantasy III. Yeah, it's just a heart on the forehead, snakes coming out of the hip apparently. Boobs, for some reason. Again, comes out of nowhere. This is not the antagonist for the game. It just happens. Although to be fair, so does the antagonist. They apparently have elaborated on it in subsequent iterations. Somehow even more revealing. This is not, if I had to put a name to that, it would not be Cloud of Darkness. Just like nothing about the name Cloud of Darkness makes me think of that. So I kind of want to make my own Cloud of Darkness. That seems fair, right? That looks more like it. That's kind of not quite a cloud, but it's sort of abstract and weird. Anywho, let's try and draw something. Yes. It is the weekend, I have been reliably informed. I hope everybody had a good week. What do we want? And when do we want it? Let's do a kind of thing. Let's do a kind of thing. Sort of like a... Again, I want to do that, you know, drawing things in a kind of foreshortened perspective, even though I'm not very good at it. So I tried to do it last time and it didn't work. What I want is like... Let's put in the horizon line and work from there. Then we can have like... So obviously it's going to be like, here's like an abstract cliff edge or whatever floating in the void, and here's some random stones that are also just sort of floating in the void. I know my Final Fantasies. And it's sort of like just stuff. And then here you have the big form of whatever the villain is, Cloud of Darkness. Vaguely humanoid, I'm guessing, but well, maybe not. Maybe, but also maybe. Because the final bosses in Final Fantasies tend to be multi-stage, so that kind of puts a dampener on things. And they tend to be also like combinations of things. So like sometimes literally, sometimes just a kind of mess of bodies and faces and arm stuff. But sometimes it's just a tree. So you never really know what you're going to get. Okay, hang on. How about... Oh, I won! I haven't even started yet. So how about a kind of... Because in the game there's going to be a lot of spoilers for Final Fantasy III at this point. Just so you know. But that's fine, because the game isn't really worth getting excited about. you are, in the fashion of the original, you play as the Warriors of Light, the 4 Warriors of Light. That's a thing that happens occasionally in these things. And you find out sort of towards the end that you're fighting the darkness as the Warriors of Light, but you sort of find out that the darkness isn't really the problem. The problem is that there's too much darkness, and that's fine. But a couple of thousand years ago, there was too much light, and that was a problem. So the 4 Warriors of Darkness stopped that. So it's all a balance thing. It's not actually a kind of light is good, darkness is bad sort of thing. It's more about balance. And I quite like that idea of the kind of 4 Warriors of Darkness thing, because they sort of I don't know whether they're supposed to look like they're merging into the boss before it happens. I don't know. But what am I trying to draw here? But I like the idea that the boss could be, because in the game they all look the same, but I like the idea that they are a reflection of the 4 Warriors of Light, so maybe you could incorporate that in there somehow as a combination of like the 4 standard classes, like the Knight, the White Mage, Black Mage, and Thief, I guess. So maybe you can have like a kind of vague sort of body shape. This will be turned into clouds soon enough, don't worry. Just trying to sketch out stuff. Again, try and get a sort of, maybe just sort of up to the neck. Keep it angelic. If I remember correctly, in Final Fantasy XIV, you get to do stuff with the Warriors of Dark side of things. Cool. I think Final Fantasy XIV really feels like sort of fan theory in a sense. Like they just get to play around with everything from the series, and they're having good fun with it. And a lot of people like it. It's cool. I like that. Apparently they do that with a lot of other series as well, like Dissidia. I don't even know what that is, but it crops up a lot on the wiki. So maybe like, again, that's sort of like, I want it to sort of proper. It's not quite having the effect I wanted it to. I'm thinking, what's the name of that, oh wait, I blocked Instagram on this, haven't I? For productivity reasons. And I'm using my tablet for that. Let me grab my phone. Sound on my microphone might mess up. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for someone I follow on Instagram who does some very cool things. Who I can't find. Ah, here we are. Peter Moorbacher. Oh, Pete Moorbacher, sorry. Moorbacher? Pete Moorbacher. Whatever. Anyway, he does a thing about angels, and I kind of want that kind of scale, that sense of scale. I have no idea how to achieve it. He's very, very good. Right. I suppose you can have sort of like something that goes sort of behind it like that. You want to keep it biblical. It's always a good idea for the Final Fantasy final bosses. Just have a halo of clouds or something. Maybe sort of concentric halo. Gives it a sense of scale. And then maybe like sort of 4. How can I make this more imposing? It feels a bit flimsy at the moment. Again, if I knew what I was doing, things would get done, but it wouldn't be half as interesting. Hopefully, it's interesting. Doesn't look good at all. How do you draw clouds? I don't know. shorter, I think. These will also be clouds. But until then, they're getting structure. So don't complain. I don't know what I drew there, but I quite like it. Strange sort of cloudy cuff. Should it be arms? Maybe it should just be hands? A bit too Rayman, I think. Maybe just tighter, sort of. Oh, I've heard these pieces of music so much. There's not a lot of music in this game, so it gets used. Nice oboe lines, though. Maybe I can use this as a kind of take this off, or take this away after I'm done, and sort of use it as a study. People like doing cloud studies for colour, don't they? Maybe that's something I can do. Because you can have sort of... Let's finish right this. Yeah, the idea of playing 14 does sound appealing, again, because of that kind of fan in me who wants to see. I want to see the stupid things they've done with Tomberries. But it does involve playing an MMO. And I don't really have time for single player games at the moment. Right, these arms are a bit big. But I have heard good things, at the very least, about the MMO, so... which is what makes me keep wanting to play it. There's someone I follow who's playing through all of the Final Fantasies in order. And they kept saying, oh, we probably won't really do much of 14. It's not, you know, you can't really finish it per se, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And I don't know how long they've been playing it for now, but they're clearly into it. So yeah, what do we want? We want like an arm for a warrior, an arm for a white mage, an arm for a black mage, an arm for thief. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Maybe a monk. 14, the one with the road trip. That's 15. 14's the MMO, which is there's probably a road trip in that as well, to be honest. I'm sure they've shoehorned some 15 stuff in there as well. Although I do want to play 15 again. 15 again, I haven't played 15 yet. I do want to play 15 at some point. I'm still getting through my back catalogue of old ones. 2 and 4, they're the only ones, only main numbers in between that I haven't finished yet. Yeah. Which, now I know what 2 involves, it shouldn't be too bad. Ha! Shouldn't be too bad, you know, get it? It's funny. This is giving me Necron vibes. Which isn't terrible. That's another boss that comes out of nowhere. Imagine that sort of god rays shining out of this. Lots of light. This is a very light... Funnily enough, Cloud of Darkness, lots of light. It's got to consume something, I guess. See, this is another one where I want to just model this in Blender, just to get the perspective right. Right. So I'm thinking like maybe these are the two sort of mage hands, because then they can have like a long staff or something. Because they're like in the old games there are staves, staves, staffs. There are staves, staves. There's Jason Statham's and rods. And I don't really know what the difference is, but one of them can use rods and one of them can use staves. So I don't know quite how to represent that here, but we can design for cool looking big old weapons, but dark ones. To be less sort of aggressive, these ones. They're just sort of lightly. Well, I do want that kind of sort of like old godly portrait touch, where things are never quite being. Things are being very gently held and pointed at, and you know those old portraits, probably the Renaissance. A lot of loose wrists, yes. Better rods usually have elemental aspects. Ah, right. Oh, that is the thing, yes, because there's... Isn't there like a speed run of one of the Final Fantasies where you can get like an ice rod and then you throw it in battle and it does like 2,000 damage at the start of the game. It's amazing. I've been watching speedruns. They might actually be going on at the moment. There's a speedrun marathon thing called RPG Limit Break. And I think it might still be happening. They're doing a relay race of all, well, not all of the Final Fantasies, but a lot of Final Fantasies. I think 14 of them? 15? 16? One after the other, different racer per game. 3 teams playing against each other. And I'm still on the second one, which was 8. They're doing them in a weird order. But yeah. If you want to go watch that, you can. That's the thing. How do clouds do? I'm going to have to look up a lot of reference images of clouds if I want to get this right. Maybe that can be another sort of concentric circle sort of thing. That's not terrible. The idea of it sort of cycloning in concave sort of thing. So we want something other than clouds in this, probably. What is this music? I don't remember this at all. What was that? The Living Forest? I don't remember that. I remember several things that can be called a living forest, but I don't remember that music. RPG Limit Break is great, but also long. It is, yes. It's for RPGs. It means I get more time to explain things like Taskbot, though. Yes. The reason I sort of got into that was I remember one GDQ they were running, I think Final Fantasy VII, and it was like, it's a long game, so it just lasted a really, really long time. So you can't really do a lot of those in that kind of marathon, but they decided to set up a marathon that was just for RPGs, which was the RPG Limit Break thing, and that's how I sort of found it. But it is nice. It's just nice to sort of have people, you know, for 8 hours talk about one game. And you get to talk about all the weird things, the RNG manipulation, and the weird stuff they do in those games. One thing I didn't know, watching the Final Fantasy VIII one, this is not going to mean anything to people who don't play 8, but Zell's Limit Break, you can use skills that you haven't learned yet. If, like, they just don't show up on the menu. it's a combo kind of thing. So they show you a little list and put in this combo quickly, and then you will do this move, and then here's some more combos, and you just keep going till time runs out. But through the game, you can pick up new combos that add to the list, but they're there, you just can't see them. So you can type in the combination, and it does the move, even if you haven't learned it yet. That's weird. That's really weird. They blocked your progression purely by just not showing you the combination. So if you know it, you never need to advance that limit break at all. That was weird. That's a weird programming thing. Anyway. What was I doing? I was going to do something. Can't remember what it was. Hello, Dark! How you doing? How goes all? And I mean all. This does mean I'm going to have to design some staves. I feel like what's left is sinister, isn't it? So left should be black magic, right should be white magic. Where is this music coming from? Oh, this is Fat Chocobo. I never used that. Didn't really see the point in it. I want to feel sort of cyclone-y, but sort of, I don't know. I do not clouds. The point is hearing this music. That is okay. That's fair. I cannot argue with that. One other thing to point out is that it's raining a lot outside. That's not the thing to point out. I just wanted to remark upon it. Is that I discovered recently that there are Final Fantasy randomizers, and I'm a sucker for a randomizer. Not all of them have it, and they have them to varying degrees. Obviously, it depends on the architecture of the game. But I briefly tried a Final Fantasy VII randomizer, which was wild. My favourite thing was you could randomise the limit breaks of characters, and the models of the characters really don't like that, so they end up just sort of contorting and morphing, and then when they return back to their position, they don't return back to their position, they're somewhere off in the distance. What was I saying? Yes, I tried the randomizer. That was a bit much because it randomized all the stats of items and it didn't tell you until you equipped it and went to the status menu, and it was just a bit of a faff. But I've just started doing a Final Fantasy IX one, and that's a lot more tame. It just randomizes moves of enemies, and like abilities that can be learned by characters and where those abilities are learned from, and all the items and all that sort of stuff. And that's I'm sort of playing that at the moment. That's a fair old amount of fun. But one of the things is, like I say, it randomizes all the moves of the enemies, and I think there's like a debug move in there because twice now I've had enemies attack me with something called, I think, Battle Message 0, which is just instant death. So that's fun. I'm just fighting this little bug. Oh, I can kill a little bug. Instant death. Yeah. There's a randomizer for one of the Zelda games that randomizes the doors. That sounds great. I love a good door randomizer. But yeah, if you want to, if you feel like you want to play a Final Fantasy IX in particular, and just, you know, maybe want it to feel a little bit different, you can get that. You just want to do a playthrough of 9 and like, no, but I've played it a lot. There's something to freshen it up a bit. Oh, maybe. Again, this is going to be a bit of a rod for my own back, if you pardon the expression. Rod, haha. Maybe the arms could be different types of clouds. Would that be messy? I don't know. One could be a cyclone sort of cloudy thing. One could be sort of softer. Maybe these shouldn't be clouds. Maybe these should be like a bit more structural, you know, sort of like an actual sort of Halo-y sort of thing. Perspective. I'm trying to think of what like other games that would be fun with a randomizer. I know there's randomizers for the Resident Evil remakes, which sounds fun, particularly given that I've never played those games before. But I have seen them being played, so that's basically the same, right? Yeah. This is all supposed to be clouds, not rocks or anything. Again, probably should have tried to practice drawing clouds before I decided to draw a thing made of clouds. Needs to be more spread out. This is a bit Gilgamesh-y. I've just realised. Good old Gilgamesh. Gilgameshu. Because there'll be like this one will have a big old sword. I don't know. What does a fancy sword look like in perspective, pointing out this way? Attempting a sketch with the head at a weird angle, it's just not working out at all. There's a reason of the cliche of drawing everything at 3/4 angle. I wish you the best of luck, and let me know if you get any tips on how to do it as you go through. Maybe this should be like that. Also, this is not symmetrical at all. Maybe. But what if 3/4 slightly tilted sideways and upwards? What if you start that way, and you get all your construction sorted out, and as you add details, things twist and turn ever so slightly, and then when you're finished, you've managed to make it 3/4 angle again. Because that's what happens to me. I have the best of intentions to start with, and then by the end of it, it's just 3/4 angle. Always somehow ends up that way. I need to do more studies. Maybe we should have sort of different things, whatever these are, for each. What's it? Well, I'll work that out as it happens. It'd be nice to have a bit more, sort of, a bit less uniformity and a little bit more sort of spiraliness rather than concentric rings. Stop looking at your screen. No, I just know how I work, and apparently it's relatable. This is what you get other people to do. You're right. Yes, I that's something I definitely need to get cracking on. Hello, Miss. How you doing? This is you haven't played Final Fantasy 3, have you? The last boss of Final Fantasy 3, I've just finished it, is called the Shadow of Darkness. And I wanted to draw a final boss that looked like the Shadow of Darkness, because the Shadow of Darkness in the game looks nothing like a Shadow of Darkness. And I thought that was a shame. Feel free to draw your own Shadows of Darkness, by the way. I'd be very interested to see what you come up with. I'd also be very interested to say it, but, you know. Not Shadow of Darkness, Cloud of Darkness. Sorry. My brain is just there. Shadow of Darkness sounds better, but it's a Cloud of Darkness. That's the thing. That's why it's clouds. That's why I'm going with that. Because I'm imaginative like that. It's called Clouds, so it's going to be clouds. I'm smart. Doesn't look like clouds, does it? Again, gonna have to learn to paint clouds just to do this. Draw a dark squiggle, there's your dark. Yes, here is the cloud of the darkness. Here we are. Nods in having never played Final Fantasy. I'll get the image back up. Just briefly, get in your head an image of what you think the Cloud of Darkness would look like. And then, let me know if you were thinking of this. Is that what you were thinking of? Because that's what I saw. Yeah. Dark cloud, do a squall. Yeah. Or, if I knew anything about the JRPG Dark Cloud, I'd do something from that. My friend had it, and it always looked good, but I never played it. And it had like a town building element. It was weird. Okay, so how am I going to do this? You have many questions. Do a squall. At some point, I'm probably going to have to do a Final Fantasy VIII draw through, so I should probably get used to how to draw squall. There you go, there's a squall. Off you go. Final Fantasy has a long and proud tradition of going off the wall by the time you get to the final boss. It really does. It really does. It's the one thing that Final Fantasy IX just... It's so sensible and good for the first 3 quarters, and then just boom! Draw the most angst-ridden emo. That's basically it, yeah. Well, he's not like this. Not angsty so much as just like... bit of an arse. Again, I was watching the speedrun. It's just very funny. Particularly given that the speedrun, it's faster if you annoy people, they don't talk to you as much. So that's the fast way to do it. Right, how's this? So I did actually think, instead, so hang on, left is sinister, so this should be, I'm gonna have this as sort of like a big old fist, because this is gonna be the monk, and I'm not gonna do thief, I'm gonna do monk. So yeah, if for anyone who turned up a little late, the idea of this being that in the game there's as well as the 4 warriors of light, which is your characters, there's the 4 warriors of darkness, and they're not your opponents per se. It's all about a balance of light and dark, and they stopped the light getting too big, and now you've got to stop the dark getting too big. But I liked that idea of mirroring you, because they don't really do that. They're just characters, and they all look the same. But I like the idea of sort of fighting the image of yourself. It's not an original idea by any stretch, but that's what I want to sort of do here, is take the 4 sort of main roles in this game, because it's a game with a job system, so you can swap out your jobs. It was the game that introduced to the job system, and try and turn it on its head. That'd be cool. FF8 did really make you want a bomber jacket as a kid. That's fair. I had a bomber jacket. They're comfy. Final Fantasy VIII didn't really make me want anything. I kind of did want to get into boxing, because Zell's an idiot. And a lovable idiot. So I want to do like fist there, and then instead of hand, well, yes, hand, but instead of that, so instead of having a rod and a staff, we can have just like a ball, sort of crystal balls kind of thing. And then these will be right. It's like, oh, that's annoying actually, because that's a really good hand. I don't want to. So what I'm going to do, put that over there. Stolen. This make for a great air elemental, possibly. Still not getting a rough. How's the perspective work on this? One of my favourite things, again, spoilers for 3, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for 3 in this stream, is in the final dungeon. One of my least favourite things is in the final dungeon there are like 9 bosses and no save points. So that was fun when I died. But you do like a kind of little boss rush of 4 bosses, unlocking the 4 warriors of darkness. Funnily enough, that I don't think they're elemental. It's difficult to tell. The combat is so samey. But not sure why I did this shape. But in each of those 4 areas, there's a single chest, and in that chest is a ribbon, which, if you don't know, in the Final Fantasy series, makes you immune to status effects, which is quite powerful. And I thought to myself, ooh, there are 4 members in my party, and they have given me 4 ribbons just before the final boss. I wonder whether or not I should equip these. Yep, turns out that's probably a good idea. It seems just so obvious to me. It's like, I know it's kind of also a kid's game, but at the same time, really kind of nullified the point of the fight. Yes. Is there anything else worth saying about Final Fantasy 3? Oh yes, achievements. This is a game that I was playing on Steam. There is a Steam version, and it's a port of the DS remake, so it's 3D and all that. A couple of weird things in there. There's an enemy that sort of looks like a cyclone with a big ol' eyeball in it, like that. Which they've decided to call a lemur. I don't know why it's called a lemur, but it is. That made me laugh. But the other thing is that as a Steam game, it has achievements. And achievements range from the things that you do to play the game all the way through to additional challenges that you can take upon yourself. And as I mentioned in the game, there are jobs. You have a job system, so your characters can swap jobs, and they have a proficiency at each job that is separate from their own level. So they have a job level and a personal level. So you can be, a level 15 character who's level 3 at being a knight and level 10 at being a mage or something. By the end of the game, after a little bit of grinding, I got one of my characters to level 99 in a job. And I got an achievement for that, and that was cool. Then I looked at the achievements. I don't know how long I played the game for, but I then looked at the achievements and found out that there is an achievement, apparently, for getting every single one of your characters to level 99 in every single job. Now, I'm sure there are people who have done it, and I'm not going to do it, because I sat down and did a bit of maths, and I worked out, because particularly, I thought it's not unfeasible, in the sense that there are like 24 jobs, so if you could just find a way to sort of cheese a battle to get you loads and loads of levels, it wouldn't be too bad. But it turns out, 99 on everything, you saw that one, yes. It turns out that you can only get one job level per battle. So you have to do 99 times 24, or however many jobs there are, battles, minimum. So, what would that be? That would be 2,376? Let's say 2,400, roughly. So 2,400, if they take you a minute each, then that's, what, 240, 40 hours? 40 hours to grind for that. I'm not doing that. So yeah, that's an achievement I'm not going to get. It's a very MMO grindy sort of achievement. I know, and it's completely pointless. I know there is an optional super boss somewhere in the game. I completely missed them. But even then, you wouldn't need 99 in all jobs, because you can only have one on at a time. It's like, and I understand there is also a job that's like really bad, but it gets very good if it's once it's level 99. So I kind of understand for that one, but not all of them. I just remember seeing that and thinking, no. Again, if you could grind more than one level per battle, it wouldn't be too bad, because the way you get points towards your job is by doing things in a battle. Now, you don't actually have to fight, you could just block. So if you go right to the start of the game and just fight a goblin and block constantly, you'll keep getting points. But again, you have to do it sort of multiple... What is with this hand? This isn't a hand. What is it? You still have to do those 2,500 battles. Oh dear, it's very silly. Yeah, no, I think it needs to be more extreme. This is a very high up perspective. And we're going to be able to see the sort of the bottom of the hand. This doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, right. What I want is... Is it? Or is it very rough? And I don't know how to draw clouds. I feel like this should be more... The things here should be more cohesive. It's a sketch. It is. So, like, rather than just, here's a sword, here's a staff, here's a fist, here's a thing, there should be a motif. Something with... Don't draw Cloud, draw Sonic. There we go. I almost forgot how to do that. I was like, hang on, there was a spike somewhere, wasn't there? How long's it been? A while. So, like, you know, maybe we need sort of... Maybe these sort of concentric rings of light around things. Well, not concentric, but... Well, maybe concentric. Again, this would be so much easier if I knew anything about drawing in perspective, particularly this grandiose sort of... that sort of perspective. Anyway, hi Miss, how are you? And Dark as well, I think I asked how Dark was. Do you know what? I'm going to do a stream. I'm going to do a charity stream one day. Where I'm going to donate £1 for every time I say I feel like that's fair. Oh wow, it's even more pronounced than that I'm making it. Whew. Something like this is actually very good for grounding the perspective. Oh yeah, that was 2 overlaying. One. You're okay. How am I? I'm chugging along. I'm still alive, which is a blessing. Yeah. I'm thirsty. That's what I am. Did I do vocal warm-ups today? Did I ever? No. No, I didn't. Oh, that was one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Final Fantasy IX. I have a penchant for concept art, and so I flicked through some of the Final Fantasy III concept art, and there's a lot of Amano stuff because he was the main artist for the series at that point. And I sort of worked my way up the games, and by the time I got to 9, 9's concept art is far more consistent than any of the other games, particularly 8. 8's concept art is like all over the place, which explains a lot. It's as if the different departments weren't talking to each other. But 9, the items, the locations, the characters, the accessories and weapons and all that, it just all feels consistent. And I just want a book of that, all of that concept art. But there is one, because I don't really like, this is probably heretical, I don't really like Yoshitaka Amano's art. That's just me, and that's fine. I prefer Nomura, but Amano's picture of Queen Bran from Final Fantasy IX is possibly the best thing I've seen. Because I just love it. I love that expression. It's great. She looks hideous in the main game, but that picture of her, the art of this character, yeah. I've never seen that before. I love it. I also really like this one as well. Sort of trying to get sort of proportions and stuff like that. But I like the little guy down here. It's just like, excuse me, I have a message for you. They didn't need to draw that, but they did. I love concept art. It's great. But yeah, look up the concept art for Final Fantasy IX. It is all great. I want to spend just a month just studying it and replicating it because it's brilliant. It's sort of like somewhere in between what you'd expect from a Final Fantasy and like a kind of Ghibli sort of thing. It's great. Love it. Give me a book. Let me have a book. Of that in particular, not just a random book. I mean, I'll take a random book. Why not? What's this? Ooh. Unused concept art of an assassin for the game. That's cool. Anyway, distractions. What am I doing here? So, yes, we need to... I want to turn the sword and the... the sword and the staff into more of a motif-driven what's it. What are the words I'm trying to say? I won't tell. Also, hi Weird, how are you? I know you've been here since the beginning, but I didn't ask. So we want, yeah, it's sort of this, yeah, the idea of concentric rings, I think, works well. Take a shot every time I say concentric. So how to incorporate that? I mean, the simplest thing to do here would just be to put rings around. Okay, doodling some podcast art. Ooh, exciting times. It's exciting times. I see your art is already being used on the old podcast main thing. I don't know, what do they call it? Cover, I guess. Words. You did good. You did good jobs. Very exciting. I don't even think that's not strong enough, and it's intersecting with the hand above. Maybe these need to be further in. That's already quite far in. Sorry, I cut off your finger. There's that prelude. Some might even say 10 talented. Oh, it's escalating. We have a 10, we have a 10. Can I see an 11? 11? Like there'd be somewhere around this, and then sort of like, maybe that's around the arm or something. Is this too much? This might be too much. Maybe I can incorporate it into something else. I feel like it's a cardinal sin to say, is this too much about a Final Fantasy end boss? But, original one of tits out and snakes from her hips, you fine. I guess. One of my other favourite things about Final Fantasy III was there's a character, I can't remember her name. You first encounter her when you go to a village, and she says, "Oh, the love of my life, I met him a week ago, and we fell in love, and it's amazing. But now he's run away saying he had some epic quest to do, and I miss him so." And she's just laying in bed, so forlorn. Oh no, I can't possibly get up. Then you find the love of her life, bring him back, and she's like, "Oh, you're back. Oh, it's amazing. I'll just stay in bed. I'm not gonna get up, but I'm glad you're okay." She just stays in bed the entire game. She finally gets up at the end, but I just love the fact that she's like, "I can't possibly get out of bed until the love of my life returns." And then he returns like, "Oh, okay. Could I just have a little bit more? This is very comfortable." What am I doing? This is terrible. How do sword? 5 more minutes. Set your phone on your keyboard. Look, I accidentally almost typed 89898989 into the chat at the start of this stream, and in an attempt to stop me doing that, I accidentally deleted Ragdoll's message from last stream. So don't worry about it. I'm bad as well. We're all bad. Yay! Technology. We are experts. We used to be perts, but now we're not. That sounds horrible. Ugh. What's not right about this? We used to be that shampoo, but we've evolved. Is there a shampoo called Pert? I'm not gonna type in Pert into Google. That's a bad idea. Coward, absolutely. You don't see that on my CV? Mathematician, programmer, coward. And none of this is cloud-like. It's just making it... I'm good at drawing rocks, it seems. This looks like a big old rock. Artist, I have yet to have that as a job. I'm getting there, though. Slowly but surely. I'm a very hard worker and a coward. Yeah. I will work extremely hard away from dangers and such. Forgot about that. Live as a coward or die a hero, the key word in that is live. Yeah. What is this? The airship theme, but weird. Eternal Wind 0.33 mix. Okay. Artist isn't a job, it's a lifestyle. Exactly. And I don't have it. So... I will never claim to be an artist. I will claim to be someone who knows how to draw, kind of. But I will never attempt to take the mantle of artist. That is definitely left to people who are far more passionate than me. I do it because I have a thing I want to make. And hopefully that thing is not terrible. I'm a maker-upper of things who learned some skills to make it up thing cool. No, that's terrible. Put that on my CV. I'm a maker-upper. That's what I am. Honestly, that probably wouldn't be a terrible thing to put on a CV. It'll make your CV stand out, you know? I made mine stand out by doing it in colour. Fed up of seeing CV templates that are just black and white. It's like, instantly bored. I remember doing that at uni. We had to do a poster project about a particular area of maths as a kind of like presentational thing, and then you had to explain it to people as all to do with sort of communication of maths. And I was the only person who bothered to put colour in their poster, and I made a background and everything, and it just stood out like a sore thumb amongst everyone else's. To be fair though, trying to make colourful backgrounds and put pictures in the background of a LaTeX document is pretty tricky. It's not something it's really natively supported, but you can get there eventually. What am I doing? I still don't think something's right. Also, to be fair, colour printing is expensive. I mean, they printed in colour because there were some red words and some blue words, and there was a graph there, and one had a red line and one had a blue line and stuff like that. So they were still printing in colour. And they just didn't use it. Yeah, when I say poster, I don't just mean like a kind of A4 page or whatever. This is a big... I've still got it, actually. Oh, well. It's on Fourier transforms, I think. Not something I know an awful lot about, but this is not... What is it? Oh, This Is the Last Battle. That's what it is. It's called This Is the Last Battle. Thank you for answering my question. As black mages, apparently. So be careful with colour on CV. Some people view it as trying too hard or wasting time. One of the first things you were told when interviewing people. I'm going to do something. I'm going to put effort into it. If somebody says, do you think you've wasted your time putting this much effort into your CV, I'm going to go, no, because there's literally one thing I have to do. My entire focus is on trying to find a job. Why do you think I would try and skimp on that? You start your cover letters with hello or hello there. That's cool. Start my cover letters with, if you're reading this, then I need a job. Dear sir or madam, delete as applicable. Hang on. I want to non-destructively mess around with this. Nah! No, you can't do that. Bloody Clip Studio. What's the probability this is going to get my VOD claim? Nah, I preferred it before, really. The rules for jobs are made and enforced by overwhelmingly white evangelical Christians who think that having a tattoo or the name Jose is unprofessional. Delete sir and madam. That's fair enough. How about dear and then just like an underscore space? Insert as applicable. I want you to do the work on my cover letter. Thank you very much. I'm a delegator. Seem to be in need of some money to be like surviving and stuff. Don't care about your establishment in particular, but if you treat me right, I'll do the work. See, that's your first problem. You're making demands of them. You're expecting that they're going to treat you right? You're not right for this job. We want an employee who just won't complain. That soundtrack's gone. I'm playing 9. Can we do that one? Where's 9? It is not recommended to me. That's annoying. That's annoying. Did I just say that? I think I just said that. Here it is. Now, how many copyright strikes does this video? Will and Penny's theme from Apollo 440. That sounds like a fraudulent claim. It does also have 1 claim for that. Let's skip the first song, just in case. Yeah. Dear Dark, stop judging my colourful CV. Give job, thanks. Will job for food. Tell you what, hang on, this might tell me what's wrong with it. If I do this, let's go with that, and do this. So, first things first. They're a bit off, that's fine. Again, if I do eventually do a proper render of this, I will probably block it out roughly in Blender. For the purposes of... I think that's better to do it like that. Again, it doesn't have to be absolutely symmetrical, just enough. This hand is a bit small. But yes, I haven't applied for many jobs. I sort of spent 8 years at university and then started doing this, so... Been a weird old ride. I did apply once for a programming position and I ended up not getting it. But the person who was on the team... The person who worked for the company who put out the advert for the job contacted me and said, hey, we've got another client who's doing something else in a completely different field. Do you want that one? Like, this is not how jobs work. You're not even the person who tried to hire me, you're just the person who put out the advert. Unfortunately, you just have to be really lucky with whoever's recruiting. Your brother and a couple of his colleagues were in charge to hire someone for their company. It basically came down to 2 candidates. One had a CV that was sort of a treasure map, really creative and fun. The other was bland. Again, I feel like it obviously depends on the job. That's not going to make an awful lot of difference if the job you're trying to go for is something that doesn't require sort of creativity. Bland wins. Yeah, exactly. In some sense, maybe a job that doesn't require creativity, it'd be better to go with the bland one. Brother loved the effort put into the treasure map. The other colleague was like, "This is weird." That's the other thing. It might not just be the job; it's just the person who's getting it. They're engineers. You need creativity in engineering. Land one? No! That's not how engineering works. Boo. I mean, I know we're all coming, well, a lot of us are coming from a sort of creative background and all that sort of stuff, so we're rather biased towards these things. I agree, boo. Too much time and effort to read a CV is a bad first impression. You need to make the information clear. But at the same time, you can make it clear without it being a spreadsheet, you know? Yeah. Should I actually start putting effort into finishing this? Or, like, properly making it into a thing? Why does it need to be in the palm? This is celestial. Floating free. Also perspective. We're not going to want it that way. Probably. But then you wouldn't see the fingers because they'd be wrapping around that way. That looks awful. We'll have it leaning forwards a bit. Or turning forwards. This thing's made of clouds. It doesn't have to be too accurate. Okay, now I've done some manipulations. Okay, not terrible. I feel like there does need to be more things up here. Sort of. Single. Oh, that's probably important. What? The student just turned in a file for an assignment. The file type is just file. Wait, what was that? Hang on, what? Why was there a bit of Kefka's theme in there? It's weird. If your brother liked it, then it's probably one of the reasons to stay on. Prefer the way they do the company job when they bring everyone in. Actually get a chance to show you stuff. Send him back a reply saying great. Yeah, can someone explain to me why there's a Kefka in my Final Fantasy IX? I'm gonna go back and play that again. What was that? Is that a mistake? Is that not supposed to be there? Right. Enough of that. Enough of you. Yeah, see, this should be much. It should be. Maybe they snuck it in. It just... Thing is that's the kind of thing they might do with 9, because 9 is a kind of a last hurrah for the for Final Fantasies that are actually about fantasy. And as a consequence, there's loads of references and all that sort of stuff. But I've just never noticed that before. Is that... Hang on, I'm going to look up that song and see whether or not this is just a thing with this video. Because I'm just on a YouTube video. What's it called? This was Feel My Blade. That doesn't seem like a thing that would have a Kefka in it. But I've been wrong before. Many, 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 many times. Search, please. Thank you. Yes? No? No, you're just not gonna. Oh, there we go. No, I don't think that's supposed to be in there. It just starts. That was weird. Anyway, what do? There is the temptation actually to import this into Blender and start modeling, just to get like the perspective. Or actually, no. You know what? You could actually make this a 3D model, because clouds aren't that tricky once you kind of know what you're doing. It's a sort of volumetric thing. Oh no! Don't make me think that. I don't like that crystal. That's not in perspective. I don't know what to do with this. Again, I started the stream having no idea what I was going to do, so the fact that I've ended up with something that kind of works, and my brain being what it is, thinking, oh, what do I do with it though? It's not enough that it exists. It has to be full. It has to turn into a thing. It has to have purpose. Ah, I like this one. Vamos a la flamenco. Sometimes just... you know what? I actually read that as sometimes things just are, so... Whether or not you put down the words in the right order, I read them in the right order. Right, yeah, sometimes things just are. One day, I will be happy with that as an answer, but until then, I'm gonna think, but what if? The day I come up with a cool idea and go, look at this cool idea, instead of going, how can I fit this into one of my 78 projects? Or should I start a new project? Deleting files can be so therapeutic. I have yet to experience that joy. I am a digital hoarder. Oddly enough, not a physical one. That's quite nice, having sort of interwoven branches sort of doing their own thing. But is it what I'm looking for? Still not happy with the sword, still not happy with the staff. Designing things. That's the main thing I get from looking at concept art of Final Fantasy games, is just the variety of designs in weapons and armor and Like, I would just do a leather strap with a buckle on it. I would just draw that sword, the sword I've drawn 7,000 times. Just the variety of imagination in something that has the same function. Impressive. You get images of that meme where the guy's looking at the girl with a new project while all the old projects look offended. I mean, yeah. What's the idea behind what this creature is holding? Okay, so in Final Fantasy 3, well, in Final Fantasy 1, you started the game and you had 4 characters, and right at the start of the game, you determined their class. They could be a warrior, or a black mage, or a white mage, or whatever. And that's it for the whole game. Final Fantasy 3 introduced an idea of a job system, where you can, on the fly, change jobs, but you still had a kind of core jobs set, which you got at the start of the game. And I liked the idea that the boss would reflect that, and so the boss would be basically a kind of combination of the 4 main ones. Because there's 4 characters. So there's like a warrior one, a black mage one, a white mage one, and whatever the 4th one would be. Thief kind of makes sense, but thief isn't really a thing that you could make sense with a boss, so I went with monk, which is just a fist. So that's the idea behind it. It's also connected to the idea of the 4 warriors of darkness, because you're the 4 warriors of light, and yeah, I just like the idea of it being like, because a lot of final bosses in Final Fantasy games tend to be multi-enemy. There tend to be the various parts of it doing different things, and you can target different things to stop them. So this is essentially kind of like a party versus party thing, but it's one entity acting as 4. Steals your wallet while hitting you with a sword. Yeah, the group finally vanquish the shadow, and the world is returned to normal, and they get home and they realise their keys are missing. But yeah, that's the basic idea. That's just a mugging. Mug is a skill. Attack while stealing. It's a skill in the games. I should point that out. I'm not saying it's a skill in life. It's a skill, you know. It's one. You know, put in the hours, and you too can get good at mugging. What to do with this staff and this sword? Fun design, clever designs. I really just. Is there a Final Fantasy IX concept art book? I hope there isn't, because I will buy it. Oh, maybe there is. Oh, that was weird. There is something called The Art of Final Fantasy IX. Does anybody have... Sorry, this is an entertaining stream. See, that's the thing, whenever you look up a concept art book, if there's a review that says, I was expecting more concept art. It's like, yeah. Yeah. I want everything. I want it all in one book. Because I'm using, at the moment, my tablet is currently resting on a copy of the Fallout 4 concept art book, which is a thick old volume. I got one from my brother for his birthday, and as soon as he opened it and looked at it, I was like, oh, I want one. And I want that. I should want that for Final Fantasy. It's an entire RPG. Okay, so how do we... Rings, circles appears to be... So hang on, how about, instead of this, because why do you need a hilt? We could just have a kind of... looking, kind of science fiction-y. Maybe with a smaller. It's hard to make it look like it's a circle in perspective, not an ellipse, not in perspective, don't you know? Terrible. You get the idea. Jesters of the Moon. Yeah, no, that doesn't look good at all. Hang on, I should do what I always should do, and never do, which is try and draw it zoomed out. You get an idea as to whether or not it looks good. That's a bit better. Okay, that'll do for now. So hello, Human Toaster 101. How you doing? My apologies, I was deep in thought. So many unused cool ideas in that one, the Fallout 4 one. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot. Do you know what? One of my favourite concept art books, because I have a bit of a problem, is BioShock Infinite. And the reason for that is some of the early ideas for that game are so much cooler than what actually ended up being in the game. There's so much stuff in there. It's great. If only. In the end, it turned into Policeman Shooting Simulator 1834, or whenever it's set. Right, so that's fine. What to do with staff? Because I kind of went with this sort of twisty-turny thing, but it's looking more like a kind of clean... Because the original idea was that the staff was going to be sort of crooked and stuff, and then the rod was going to be clean. So maybe we just don't need this thing anymore. So let's just... Let me keep it because I quite like it. Just in case I change my mind. But until then, what's this? It has some lines in it. That. But yeah, I like... Obviously I like seeing the things that made it into the games and all that sort of stuff, but also seeing the things that didn't make it into a game and asking, you know, why? Because clearly with BioShock Infinite they wanted to make it more of a sort of grounded story more than a bit the weird side of things. Which at that point, why are you calling it BioShock? Just a thought. So what I still believe the best thing they could have done for BioShock Infinite was to not call it BioShock. So many of the problems with the game would have gone away. Why am I focusing on that? That doesn't look good at all. Staff. Turn this back on. Use that as a guide. You guys thought it was a well-received game? I like it. I really, really like it. It was my first BioShock, and it's very good. I then played the original BioShock and went, oh, I see why people don't like Infinite. Not because BioShock's just better, but there's a lot of stuff that got left behind. And, you know, they focused a lot more on the kind of interaction with, the Emily? No, not Emily. That's Dishonored. What's her name? Elizabeth, that's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they focus more on that sort of interaction and a kind of more personal story. And you know, but it sort of took a lot of the peculiarity and strangeness out of the world. And when it did come back in occasionally with like the handyman and songbird and stuff like that, it kind of felt a little bit out of place. Yeah. But if you look at the concept art book, all the stuff they could have done. The stuff they could have done. One has a much better tone and atmosphere. It's clearly very different. They clearly, from the outset, from the lighthouse out, they were clearly going in literally the opposite direction. And I admire them for that. I don't want them to make the same game 700 times. But yeah, they were just different, and I feel like it would have benefited from just not being called Bioshock. If they just called it Reality Shock or something, in the same way that Bioshock wasn't System Shock, they would have been great. You haven't played 2 in Infinite, but you really loved 1. 1's great. Again, I played 1 after Infinite, and I think 1's better, in my opinion. But Infinite is still very, very good. Just don't expect it to be too much like 1. I haven't played 2 yet. Then I will do that at some point. Because I hear, again, I kind of hear people say, oh, it's too much like 1, there's not really much different. And then other people go, but it's better than 1. Etc, etc. Took a bit to get used to the playstyle after playing Skyrim and Dragon Age, but once you get into it, oof, it's a very good game. But there are some sort of remnants of like, because they have the equivalent of plasmids in the game, obviously, the sort of a fundamental design thing, but it doesn't feel like it belongs in the world. There is an explanation for it, but not really. It's just there for gameplay reasons, really. It was a very different playstyle to get used to. Oh, okay. I know almost nothing about 2. Apart from bees. I know that there are bees involved. That's about it. Yes, I'm looking forward to playing it. But there is a game I want to play before that, which is what we're going to be playing next on stream, which is related. Once we finished Sekiro, which isn't too far away, to be honest. There's a difference between something being a good game and something being a good game of blank type or series. Exactly. Like, I would argue that Sekiro is not a good Soulsborne game. I would argue that it actually falls short in quite a lot of places. However, it's a very good game. So, that's what I've learned from playing it. Is like, if you view it as a Souls game, but it's not very good. But it's definitely doing its own thing. And again, that has its advantage. There is no reference to Souls in it at all. So you shouldn't really think that it is. I just have my expectations, and they were wrong. I mean, you have to, you haven't got around to play it. I also have to. I think I bought them in a bundle or something. But yeah, I think 2 is my last bastion of, you know, playing one of those games without knowing anything about it. Because I played Infinite after watching a playthrough. As I was playing Bioshock, it was spoiled for me twice. So 2 might be my last sort of chance. But I consider like Dishonored to be the sort of next step of Bioshock, and then who knows what comes next. I have Prey as well. Apparently that might be a sort of similar kind of thing. There's a nod or two, but that's it. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with like the occasional reference. The Infinite also kind of, well, that's spoilers. You missed Dishonored. Dishonored is so good. But I'm very excited to see you got spoiled for 1 just before the plot twist and you stopped playing after that. I know, the problem was I let my guard down. I got spoiled and I was like, oh, okay, I've been spoiled. There's no point worrying about it now. Turns out there's more than one thing that could be spoiled and I didn't know that. So, when will Dishonored come back from the war? Well, there's the role-playing game that came out recently. Or will come out recently. No, you can get the PDF, can't you? But in terms of games, I can imagine that when they're working on I I remember there being a cool cinematic for a game they were working on, Arcane, which was like two people in like a time loop fighting each other in like 60s decor. What was that called? It wasn't called like Time Loop or something, was it? Death Loop. There you are. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they what they sort of do next. But I certainly wouldn't say no to another Dishonored. But I want them to have a point, you know? Two felt a little bit aimless.
Yes, Dishonored roleplay stares intently.
There is the temptation to do that, to be honest. Although, again, I've never really been that into roleplay things. I like the idea of making a character and then writing a little story for them and all that sort of stuff, but actually, sort of as it were, performing as that character, that sort of stuff never really appealed to me. Just personal taste, I guess. Oh, how about... should we? I think we should go with the sort of crystal, even though it doesn't quite fit with the theme. It's very much a Final Fantasy staple, the kind of spiky crystal. Let's just draw the one that was there before. And then straighten it up. Everything is attached with floating circles. They're like the glue of the Dark World. Which begs the question, are horses made of circles? RPG is one of those things that you try and either love or hate like Marmite, but you're not wrong for liking. I don't know, it's just one of those things that, like, maybe if I do it, it'll be different. But whenever I, like, watch people do it, it doesn't feel right. I don't know. Then again, there are plenty of things that, you know, watching it feels wrong, but participating doesn't. Insert euphemism here. Is it me, or does this track feel like it's straight out of Final Fantasy VIII? There's a lot of... Listening to the soundtracks together, there's a lot of crossover. It's very interesting. Most RPGs that you can watch are like a production, in your opinion. I mean, it's like... I don't know. Like I say, I'm not like... Certainly not going to say, oh, I don't like it, so people shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be having fun that way. I'm just cautious as to whether or not I would enjoy doing it, you know? This should be a much, much bigger angle than this, shouldn't it? Yeah. I'd say it's not real gameplay, but you're by no means an expert. I don't know. I don't really, like I say, I don't really watch a lot of these things, but also I haven't tried listening to a lot of the podcasts that Weird recommends I should listen to, because Weird knows all about this sort of thing. And I feel bad for that. But I've just had that sort of prejudice in the back of my mind of, oh, everyone I've seen so far I've not really liked, so I'm not going to try these. Which is weird, because, like, the thing... I don't know, maybe it does tie into the idea of it sort of being a fixed production, because a lot of the podcasts I like really are just people having fun being themselves. Like, I tend not to like very organised things like that. So, I don't know, maybe I would. Don't like Critical Role. I don't think I've seen Critical Role. There's part of me that says I should be blocking this out in Blender, and then there's another part that's like, you should probably learn how to do this by hand. Does that work? Too busy, really. I think the idea is there. Anyway, this is roughly speaking my Cloud of Darkness. Take that, Yoshitaka Amano, and your funny Queen Bran. Oh, even that bass. Oh, that bass is very Final Fantasy VIII. This is a crystal. You can tell because it's shiny. There's a bit of discussion about what actual play should be and what sort of sub-genres should be formed out of that. But like at the end of the day, you're not wrong for not wanting to absorb this type of media. There are so many stories in the world. You never need to feel bad for some media not being for you. I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm forming an opinion based on so little experience. So I can't say for sure. But at the same time, I don't... You know, again, it's one of those things where I don't want to have to tell somebody, hey, you know that thing you recommended me? Yeah, I didn't like it. Particularly if they like it a lot. And it feels even worse if it's something you're invited to do. Pressure. Not explicit pressure, just implicit, social, societal. I want to be part of the pack, kind of thing. Very dramatic music for this conversation. It's a big mood. It's like somebody took the Hollywood sign, got rid of the holly, and put the the W upside down. That's why one-offs are a thing. I guess so. And then, as always, the box and stuff for the sake of perspective. It's relatively flat. And your cheaps for Dishonored RPG. Sounds cool. I don't know what else I want to do with this. I don't want to do another Gavlan where I spend the last part of the stream just drawing a wheel. I finished Gavlan, by the way. Did I put it on my Twitter, but I can sort of stick it up here. Not there. I'll find it. Where is it? Gavlan wheel. Gavlan deal. There he is. They're all Gavlan. Gavlan wheel. Gavlan deal. On the skull. They turned out nicely. Must be said. I turned off the line art on them and I'm like, could I make this work without the line art? Because it'll be better. They're supposed to be kind of ghoulish and smoky. And you can kind of see whether sort of didn't really do a good job of getting rid of the line art. But whatever. And his arseless arm. Yeah, I forgot about that. Look, he is always standing with his back to a wall, so we'll never know. We'll never know for sure. Yeah. I don't know whether or not you should expect a full render of this by next week, but you know, it might be quite nice to have that as a kind of Saturday thing. Again, I'm turning this into a project, aren't I? Of like, hey, I doodled a thing on a Saturday, and then hopefully by the next week I have a finished version of it. Maybe. This is a good opportunity to learn how to paint clouds and light coming through clouds and stuff like that, because that is a study people do, and a study that I probably should do. Is it a study I should do before, say, anatomy? Probably not. But, you know, these things happen. We've got like 4 minutes. What do we do? I'll doodle to create, but doodle to doodle because you want to doodle. Yeah. Yeah. One day, I'll be relaxed enough. It's nice that I want to full stop, to be honest. I had a very long period of just only drawing for work and desperately trying to find something else to do outside of it. You could also paint it next art stream. Oh, no. No. Something like that. I'm not gonna use skills I'm not confident in on stream. Don't know anatomy, haven't met her. You are far more familiar with anatomy than I am. You have at the very least glimpsed at her over a hedge. I don't even know where she lives. You do know anatomy, but you're not speaking. I think that's probably a common thing. Anatomy is a fickle friend. She leaves you on red. So in summary, Final Fantasy III has a weird ending. Final Fantasy IX has a randomizer, which is what I'm playing. Bioshock Infinite is good, but don't expect it to be Bioshock. Sekiro is good, don't expect it to be Dark Souls. Learn perspective and anatomy, unless you don't want to, in which case, good luck. Anything else? Me playing a randomizer? I know! Unheard of. Look, I need my bridge between now and the Sekiro randomizer, which I can't play because we haven't finished this one yet. We will play it. Yeah, I have because I was thinking for a bit of just sort of not streaming games for a bit, and then I thought, oh, I know a game I want to stream. And then I thought, the last game we streamed, Sekiro, is kind of dark and bleak, and the next game would be dark and bleak. So let's put something happy in between. So we have a short happy game to play first, but then something else. And Dishonored RPG is a thing that's happening. Okay, apparently that's confirmed. Yeah. Don't know. I feel like there was more I wanted to say. And before that, you had a murder tree with our babies dying. Oh yeah. Sorry, when you say murder tree, I think of Final Fantasy V. Yeah, that was a happy game, wasn't it? I was expecting that to be like a light, pleasant game because the art style was really pretty. And yeah, no. Everybody dies. One of the babies survived though. Spoilers. That's nice. It's a happy ending, I guess. Yeah. There was definitely something I was going to say, and I don't know what it is. And the more I look at this, the more I do think of Necron. Especially the concentric rings. I've just realised that's the theme with him as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's the thing going on, isn't it? Spoilers for Final Fantasy IX. If you don't want to see something from Final Fantasy IX. Let me get a good picture. There is no good picture. Oh, that'll do. There. Concentric rings. See? I'm not original. But I've got a lot more rings. So. And the arena as well is very concentric ringy as well. Which I do love. I love that image. Just sort of looking up from the underneath of it. It's a shame it means nothing. It comes out of nowhere. Spoiling all these games for you. I mean, this is one of the instances, like Final Fantasy III, this is one of the instances where I can show you the final boss of the game and the final area of the game, and it will tell you nothing about the rest of the game. So, it's fine. Don't worry about it. As I was playing through 9, actually, I was thinking, if I do a draw through of this, I have got to draw a lot of weird characters. There's like gimp rhinos and sort of Frankenstein's monster sort of things, and goblin thieves, and womble sign makers, and four-armed card dealers. And it's like, it's the first town. This is the first town. Yeah. So I don't know. 9's again the imagination in 9. Rat Dragoons, yeah. Gotta love the Rat Dragoons. Sorry, Gimp Rhinos. There are 2 of them. Venero and Zenero. Actually, are there 3? Genero? The Nero family. Zenero and Benero. We're looking no, and Genero. What? 2 most featured most prominently are Zenero and Benero. There are also Genero, Dinero, Panero, Benera, Zenera, Genera, Dinera, and Panera. Roa male and Ra female. Okay. As in bread, yes. That's Panera bread. they're all sentient bread. It's kind of like. Do you know what I mean when I say Gimp Hippos? At least when I try and draw that, it's gonna look like a Gimp Hippo. So. They do have claws. Why do they have claws? You can't ask someone why you have claws. That's rude. Looks pointedly at blank. Blanks, yeah. I didn't realise, because I was playing the PC version, so obviously the models are much more sort of visible than on the PlayStation with the CRT. Claws, why not? Yeah, and Blank's outfit is barely there. He's got more on his head than he has on the rest of his body. No wonder he's susceptible to getting turned to spoilers. Also, Blank is a character. A rather important character in a game that I will eventually do a draw through of, so don't worry. Catbot, what are you doing? How do I... Wait, hang on, what happens... What happens if a mod's comment is removed? The mod can't take the comment back. I can't do it either. How do I... Now restore. There. I think it's because it has the words gimps and kid in it. And Catbot's like, those 2 things probably shouldn't go together. He's the eye candy character because the main lady was allowed to wear pants. Yeah. That said, Aiko's outfit is always weirded me out. Because it's like... Like, that is... Of all the places to wear that colour. Not there, please. Really doesn't help that you're like 8 years old. It's a shame because you love her design. There's almost nothing I like about her, so I'm glad you do. I don't know. Maybe playing it with a sort of new view. You know, her story's not the happiest one. This doesn't like your podcast or your art. I don't know. I get where her character comes from, and I kind of get the point of it. But also, why do they introduce? Because Final Fantasy IX's like a kind of, you know, the last hurrah of the fantasy games, and they basically took the job system and went, how can we turn this job into a character? So you have your thief, you have your mage, you have your knight, you have your white mage, you have your dragoon, you have your blue mage, you have your ninja, and you have your summoner in that particular instance. And I think they did a really good job with that in general. But the problem is that, kind of like the old games with the jobs, they introduced like the 4 main ones, and you have those for bloody ages, and then they just give you some more, and they feel like they're kind of tacked on a bit. And you're like, no, I'll keep going with my 4 main ones, thank you very much. And so I never really got attached to Aiko, because she comes in like 2/3 of the game. 9 is the D&D of Final Fantasy. Is it? Oh, the idea of just characters being a class. I guess so. Blue Mage system's pretty great, though. It's not often you get to, you know, eat enemies. And your weapon is a fork. Yeah, they went all out with that one, didn't they? Munch. There's also 4. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let me show you the thing that does it. Let me show you your blue mage. Yum, yum, yum. He's gonna eat you. Queen is great. Also non-gendered. Pretty cool. Yep, that's them. Best blue mage. I just like... It's the wonderful imagination of like, we need a blue mage. How are we going to do that? We need somebody who can learn the abilities of the enemy. How are we going to incorporate that into this world? I know this. Oh no. Funny old game. Looks at that bullshit, looks at your art. You can see a direct line. Yeah. There are connections. Oddly enough, not the weirdest dressed of their species in the game. They cook. They do. That's their overdrive. That's what happens when they get really powerful, is rather than just eating things, they cook them. It is a kind of licky tongue with a sort of chef's outfit on. And like Vivi's a Mimikyu. I guess you can make sort of Pokemon connections. What would Freya be? Not sure. Do you remember 15 minutes ago when I said, I don't know what else to do for the rest of the stream? And now here we are. Just talking nonsense about Final Fantasy. It's nice. The Night Frogs, you think, so they can change gender to whatever. That's a bad analogy to make, because they eat a lot of frogs. Next doodle stream, Final Fantasy IX as Pokemons. I mean, Zidane would definitely be a monkey of some kind. Mankey? Probably. It's got the hair. I'll give it a thought. Why not? Not a terrible idea. Although probably next week we have to do stickers for next month's Patreon, because the sticker company, as I said at the beginning of the stream, the sticker company is a bit behind on things, backlogs and such. Oh, I didn't mention. They had a sale on eco-friendly stickers, which is the ones I buy. And they had a sale on, and I didn't get the art done in time, so I was 2 days late to the sale. I was like, oh, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. 2 days after I bought it, another sale started. I was like, are you trying to mock me? I somehow managed to get into that wonderful gap where there wasn't a sale. To be fair, frogs also eat a lot of frogs and tadpoles. Yeah, that's fair. Strong consume the weak in frogdom. It's a toad eat toad world. Actually, frog eat frog would have been better. Why did I See, I'm losing it. I'm just losing my touch. Also the weak. I know what you meant. It's a homonym. It's fine. I mentally rearranged a sentence of oobses earlier into the correct order. It's fine. Thank you for coming along. We continue tomorrow with Sekiro. Blump, blump. There we are. I reckon there's probably only, depending on how good I am at the remaining bosses, probably only a couple more streams of that. So we will then start probably a new thing. Again, a short happy thing to go in between the bleak. But I am looking forward to the bleak thing. It's an old game. I've tried before, didn't get too far, and I want to try on stream. So yeah, that bodes well. But until then, whenever that may be, thank you for coming along. This has been a very nice, sort of pleasant chit-chat. I like the pleasant chit-chat streams. That's why I sort of stopped doing boss brush and stuff like that. You can't chit-chat when you're panicking and trying to... I see now why the sort of, drawfee streams and stuff like that, they're always sort of better with multiple people, because chit-chat can happen even when someone's drawing. Yeah. Oh, it's Dali. Oh, I love the Dali music. This is like the best village music from Final Fantasies. It's your traditional village music, town music from the early Final Fantasies, but the last one of them, because this was the last one Uematsu made. Anyway, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Sekiro tomorrow. Citadel of Chaos on Tuesday. We will continue, trust me. More Sekiro on Wednesday. Probably the end, maybe. So we'll see. The creative sticker making on Saturday. Yeah. Thank you for coming along. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's perked me right up. And not in that way. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves. I'll leave you with the... I was going to say I'll leave you with the wonderful sounds of Dali, but I think it is about to finish, so I'm going to play it again. Enjoy yourselves. Yeah, you heard me. I'm invigorated by your company. Thank you, darling. Oh yeah. Thank you so much. But in a non-sarcastic way. Yeah. Look after yourselves. Have a good remainder of the weekend. Goodbye.